Have you ever wondered if the trust you place in others is just a beautiful illusion carefully crafted to keep you blind? Have you ever sat in silence feeling the weight of your own disappointment, realizing that the promises you believed in were never made to be kept? Trust is the most dangerous drug known to humanity. It clouds judgment, weakens defenses, and leaves you vulnerable to the inevitable betrayals that will come. It is not that people are inherently evil, it is that survival demands selfishness, and when the choice is between you and them, do not be surprised when they choose themselves. You were raised on fairy tales, told that loyalty was sacred, that friendship was eternal, that the bonds you build would be unbreakable in the face of hardship, but the world outside your dreams does not follow the rules you were taught here. Alliances shift with the winds of opportunity, loyalty bends under the pressure of ambition, and friendship dissolves. When survival is at stake, it is not personal, it is not even cruel, it is simply the nature of the game, and if you fail to see it, if you refuse to accept it, you will suffer for it, because in the game of power there are no unbreakable bonds, only temporary agreements masked by smiles and sweet words. You were taught to seek companionship, to believe in others, to share your secrets, your hopes, your soul, but every piece of yourself you hand over is a weapon that can and often will be used against you. The ones who swore to stand by you will vanish when the storm comes, not out of hatred but out of necessity. The promises you cling to were made under conditions that no longer exist, and when those conditions change, so too does the loyalty that seemed so real. Trust is a currency, and like any currency, its value fluctuates with circumstances. You might believe that your kindness, your honesty, your unwavering support will guarantee you loyalty in return, but you are wrong. It guarantees nothing except perhaps a slower realization of your own naivety. Betrayal rarely comes from enemies. It comes from those you allowed close, those you never thought capable of turning their backs on you, because that is where the real damage lies. Not in the betrayal itself, but in the shattering of the illusion you chose to live within. Every time you trust blindly, every time you offer your loyalty without calculating the cost, you tighten the noose around your own neck. And when the time comes, and it always comes, you will wonder why you were so eager to believe in a world that does not exist. You see, the human mind hates the idea of loneliness. It prefers the lie of companionship, even if that companionship is fragile, conditional, and fleeting. But the reality is brutal. No one cares about your survival more than you. No one will prioritize you over themselves when the moment of decision arrives, and expecting otherwise is not hope, it is foolishness. You must understand that people will align with you when it benefits them, and they will abandon you when it does not, and that is not evil. That is survival. Once you internalize this truth, you will stop being surprised when the inevitable happens. You will stop offering pieces of your heart to those who see you only as a step toward their own goals. You will move differently, think differently, live differently. You will shake hands but count fingers. You will smile but measure words. You will build alliances with the knowledge that they are temporary, and you will not mourn their passing when the time comes. This is not bitterness. It is clarity. It is strength. Those who survive, those who thrive, are not the ones who love blindly. They are the ones who love with their eyes open, the ones who know that every bond has a breaking point, every loyalty has a price, and every friendship has an expiration date. If you cling to the fantasy of unbreakable trust, you will bleed for it. You will break for it, and in the end you will be alone, not because the world betrayed you, but because you betrayed yourself by refusing to see it for what it is. Stop searching for eternal loyalty. Stop demanding unconditional love. Stop expecting others to carry you when the storm hits. Instead, learn to carry yourself. Learn to walk alone when necessary, to stand firm when alliances crumble, to survive when the world shows you its teeth. You were not meant to be saved by others. You were meant to save yourself, and once you embrace that, once you burn the fairy tales they fed you, once you bury the naive heart that longs for someone to always stay, you will be free. Free from the chains of false hope, free from the pain of constant disappointment, free to move through the world with power and precision. You will not become cold, you will become clear. You will not stop caring, you will stop expecting. You will not lose your humanity. You will reclaim your strength, because strength does not come from trusting blindly, it comes from seeing clearly, from understanding that loyalty is a game of interests, from knowing that trust is earned and conditional, and that anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying to you or lying to themselves. Machiavelli understood this truth long before most. He knew that in the real game, the one played behind closed doors, behind fake smiles. Trust was a weapon, loyalty was a tool, and friendships were nothing more than convenient alliances forged for mutual gain. He did not hate humanity, he simply saw it for what it was, and he refused to be a pawn in a game. He did not understand. You must do the same, because in the end, the only thing you can truly trust is your own ability to adapt, to read the room, to calculate the risks, to know when to hold on and when to walk away. When you stop needing others to be loyal, you take away their power to destroy you. When you stop depending on promises, you free yourself from the pain of their betrayal. When you stop believing that trust is unconditional, you start building a life based on reality, not on illusions. You become a player, not a pawn, a strategist, not a sacrifice. And once you reach that point, once you see with clear eyes and act with deliberate intent, you will find a strength within you that no betrayal can touch, no abandonment can shatter, no storm can break, because you will no longer be fighting for the approval or loyalty of others. You will be fighting for yourself, and that fight is the only one worth winning. You must understand that the greatest illusions we carry are not given to us by others, but created within ourselves. We lie to ourselves, far more skillfully than anyone else ever could. We cling to ideals, not because they are true, but because without them, the world feels unbearable. We tell ourselves that loyalty is sacred, that friendship is eternal, because admitting otherwise would force us to confront the loneliness and coldness that truly exist beneath the surface. But the truth does not disappear just because you refuse to look at it. It waits patiently, striking you in the moments you are most vulnerable, when the people you trusted turn their backs, when the promises you believed in crumble, when you stand alone, wondering how everything you built could fall apart so easily. You were not betrayed because the world is broken. You were betrayed because you built your world on fantasies. You must see clearly. Now you must understand that in the real game, the only currency that matters is power. The only loyalty that endures is the loyalty of necessity, not affection, not sentiment. Necessity. When you serve a purpose, when you provide something vital, you are protected, you are valued. But the moment your usefulness fades, so does your worth in the eyes of others. It is not personal, it is survival. And if you continue to base your relationships on feelings instead of function, you will continue to be blindsided by the inevitable reality. It is not that people wake up one day and decide to hurt you. It is that circumstances change, interests shift, needs evolve, and when they do, the bonds you thought were forged in steel turn out to be made of glass. It is a painful realization, but it is also a freeing one. Once you stop demanding loyalty based on affection, once you start understanding loyalty based on shared interests, you will no longer suffer the betrayal of illusions. You will see relationships for what they truly are: temporary alliances, shaped by the flow of opportunity. And when you see that you can move with the tide, rather than drowning beneath it, those who cling to ideals are dragged under, those who adapt rise above them. There is no honor in being blind. There is no virtue in refusing to see the world as it is. Survival belongs to those who can look at the raw truth without flinching. It is not about becoming cold-hearted. It is about becoming aware. It is not about rejecting all connection. It is about understanding the nature of connection. If you want to survive, if you want to thrive, you must see people for what they are, and accept them without illusion, without expectation, without demand. You must understand that loyalty given freely is a weakness, but loyalty forged through necessity is strength. You must build alliances that are grounded in shared interests, not blind faith, and you must be prepared for those alliances to shift when interests change. It is not betrayal, it is the inevitable evolution of the game, and you must evolve with it, or be crushed by it. You must also learn to recognize the signs, the small fractures that precede the collapse, the subtle shifts in behavior that warn you when someone is preparing to leave, when someone is weighing their options, when someone is calculating whether you are still worth the cost. You must not close your eyes to these signs. You must not make excuses. You must not let your heart blind your mind. Loyalty is not tested in comfort, it is tested in crisis, and most will fail that test, not because they hate you, but because when survival calls, loyalty is the first thing sacrificed. You must be prepared to be disappointed. You must be prepared to be abandoned. You must be prepared to stand alone, not because you are unworthy, but because you dared to see the truth where others preferred the lie. If you can accept this, if you can endure the loneliness of clarity, you will discover a power within yourself that no betrayal can touch you, will no longer fear the shifting tides of loyalty, you will no longer be devastated by the collapse of friendships, you will no longer mourn the loss of illusions, you will move with purpose, you will build alliances with eyes wide open, you will trust strategically, not emotionally, and you will be able to walk away without regret when those alliances end, because you will have expected it, you will have prepared for it, and you will have already built the next move before they even realized the game had shifted. The greatest power you can have in this world is the power to survive betrayal, not by hardening your heart, but by sharpening your mind, by understanding that loyalty, like trust, is a transaction, not a gift, and that transactions are honored only as long as they serve both parties. The moment they do not, the deal is off, and you must be ready to move forward without hesitation, without anger, without despair. This is the true nature of power, the ability to stand alone when necessary, to move forward without permission to survive, without the crutch of illusions. Machiavelli did not write to make you bitter, he wrote to make you awake. He understood that the greatest danger is not in the enemies you recognize, but in the friends you trust blindly. He understood that survival requires clarity, not sentiment, that power requires strategy, not hope, and that loyalty is a currency, not a virtue. If you can accept this, if you can internalize it, if you can live by it, you will move through the world differently. You will no longer be a pawn in games you do not understand. You will be a player in your own right, shaping your destiny with deliberate steps, rather than being shaped by the betrayals of others. You will be stronger, not colder, wiser, not harder, and in that wisdom you will find a peace that no broken promise can disturb. You will see betrayal not as a personal failure, but as a natural shift. You will see the collapse of friendships, not as a loss, but as an evolution. You will see the end of alliances, not as a death, but as a transformation, because you will have stopped building your foundation on the shifting sands of hope, and started building it on the solid rock of reality. And reality, my friend, is the only thing that will never betray you. It is easy to believe that the danger lies outside, that the real threat is the enemy you can see coming, but the cruelest lesson life will teach you is that the greatest dangers are the ones that sit closest to you, the ones you laugh with, the ones you trust, the ones you think would never hurt you. The truth is that betrayal rarely comes dressed as a threat, it comes dressed as a friend, a lover, a brother. It comes in the form of a smile you trusted, a hand you once held tight. It is not the distant enemy that destroys you, it is the familiar hand you never thought would turn against you. And that is why betrayal cuts deeper than any wound, because it shatters not just the bond, but the very foundation of your belief in others. When you understand this, when you see that danger lives within the walls you thought were safe, you begin to move differently. You begin to listen, not just to words but to silences. You begin to watch, not just actions, but the timing of actions. You begin to sense the slight hesitations, the small cracks in the mask that others wear, because the truth is neither one is completely loyal, not forever, not when enough pressure is applied, not when their survival demands a choice, and when that moment comes, when the choice is between their benefit and your trust, most will choose themselves without hesitation. It is not because they are evil, it is because they are human, and once you accept that, you stop expecting more than humanity can offer. You stop demanding unbreakable loyalty from creatures built to survive. You stop placing your heart in the hands of those who will eventually be forced to drop it. You must learn to live with one foot always ready to move. You must build relationships, knowing they are temporary shelters, not permanent homes. You must smile, but never sleep. You must trust, but never depend, because dependence is the seed of destruction. The more you need someone, the more power you give them, the more they can break you. And in this world, power is rarely surrendered without cost. You must become self-sufficient, emotionally, mentally, strategically. You must be able to stand when others leave, to move when others betray, to rebuild when others destroy, because the only true constant in life is change, and the only true loyalty you can rely on is the loyalty you owe to yourself. Everything else is negotiable, everything else is temporary. You might think this is a lonely way to live, but loneliness is not the absence of people, it is the absence of understanding. And once you understand the nature of people, Once you see the game for what it is, you will find a strange peace, even in solitude. You will no longer feel betrayed when others leave, because you never believed they would stay forever. You will no longer be broken when promises are broken, because you never built your strength on promises. You will no longer be surprised when loyalty fails because you never expected loyalty. Without reason, you will walk through the world with a quiet strength, with an invisible shield, that no betrayal can pierce you, will be untouchable, not because you are, but because you are clear, and clarity is the ultimate power. It allows you to move without fear, to act without hesitation, to adapt without breaking. You will become like water, flowing around obstacles, never rigid enough to shatter, never still enough to stagnate, always moving, always surviving, always growing. And when others look at you, they will not understand how you remain standing. When everything around you crumbles, they will not see the battles you fought within yourself, the illusions you burned, the painful awakenings you endured. They will only see the strength, the grace, the power, and they will wonder how you became what you are. And you will know that it was not luck, not destiny, not some miracle. It was the result of choosing truth over comfort, clarity over fantasy, survival over sentiment. You must ask yourself now, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to endure the loneliness of clarity, the discomfort of seeing others not as you wish they were but as they truly are, because that is the price of true strength, that is the cost of true freedom. If you are willing, then prepare yourself, because the path ahead is not easy. It is filled with moments of doubt, moments of pain, moments when you will want to return to the comfortable lies you left behind, but each time you resist, each time you choose to see instead of dream, you will grow stronger, and eventually the pain will fade, and in its place will be a strength so profound that nothing can shake it. You will no longer seek validation from others, you will no longer need their approval, you will no longer be a slave to the shifting sands of loyalty and trust. You will move with purpose, you will choose your alliances, carefully you will build your empire not on promises but on power and necessity. And you will be ready, always ready, for the moment the winds change, for the moment the masks fall, for the moment the hands that once lifted you turn to push you. And when that moment comes, you will not fall, you will not break, you will not beg, you will move, you will survive, you will thrive, because you were never depending on anyone to carry you. You were carrying yourself all along, and that is the secret. The world does not want you to know that is the truth. Hidden beneath all the sweet lies they tell you, that is the power that waits for you. If you are brave enough to claim it, you must understand now that betrayal is not the exception, it is the rule. Trust is not the foundation, it is the bait. Loyalty is not the shield, it is the illusion. And survival belongs not to those who believe the lies but to those who see the game, to those who play it better than anyone else. You must become one of them. You must become the player, not the piece, the strategist, not the victim, the survivor, not the sacrifice, because in the end the board will not pity you. The game will not pause for you, the world will not mourn you. It will move on, and the only question that will matter is whether you moved with it or were crushed beneath it. You must understand that in the game of power, emotions are not weapons, they are weaknesses. The world is not designed for those who feel too much, it is designed for those who can master what they feel, who can hide it beneath a mask of calm, who can wield it not as a burden but as a tool. If you continue to let your heart rule your mind, you will always be one move behind, always vulnerable, always bleeding for people who will not bleed for you. You must teach your heart to serve your survival, not sabotage it. You must understand that love, loyalty, trust, these are not absolutes. They are variable, they are conditions, they change with the winds of power and necessity. You must stop seeing betrayal as evil. Start seeing betrayal as evil and start seeing it as inevitable. You must stop blaming others for acting in their own interest, and start blaming yourself for not seeing it coming. You must become harder, not colder, sharper, not crueler, more strategic, not less human, because true strength is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. It is the ability to feel everything, and still choose your actions with precision. It is the discipline to smile at those you know will betray you. It is the patience to wait for the right moment to move, while others waste their energy on anger and grief. You must learn to walk among the wolves without showing your fear, without showing your hunger, without showing your heart. You must learn to see the game unfolding before you, The shifting alliances, the hidden agendas, the silent wars being fought behind every handshake and every smile. You must learn to move like a shadow, silent, observant, and yielding. You must learn to build your empire not on the promises of others, but on the certainty of your own strength, your own mind, your own strategy, because in the end no one will save you, no one will protect you, no one will sacrifice their dreams for yours, and expecting them to do so is not noble. It is foolishness. You must save yourself, you must protect yourself, you must fight for your dreams with the understanding that you are alone, even in a crowded room, even surrounded by smiling faces and whispered promises. You are alone, and that is not a curse, it is a gift. It is freedom, because when you stop expecting loyalty, you stop being betrayed. When you stop demanding love, you stop being disappointed. When you stop believing in the fantasy of unbreakable bonds, you start building bonds that serve your purpose, not your illusions. You start choosing allies who align with your mission, not your emotions. You start creating relationships based on mutual benefit, not blind faith. And when those relationships end, as they inevitably will, you will not be broken, you will be ready, you will already have the next move planned. You must also learn that survival requires betrayal at times, not out of malice, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity, because there will come a moment when you will be faced with a choice, your loyalty, or your survival, and if you choose loyalty at the cost of your own life, your own dreams, your own power, then you have chosen to be a martyr for a cause that never truly existed. Loyalty is beautiful when it is mutual, when it is strong, when it is tested and proven, but when it becomes a chain around your neck, when it demands your sacrifice for someone who would not hesitate to sacrifice you, it must be broken without guilt, without hesitation, without mourning. You must remember that loyalty to others should never outweigh loyalty to yourself, your mission, your survival, your destiny in the world of power. Loyalty is a strategy, not a virtue. And strategies must adapt to circumstances, must bend to survive, must break when necessary. You must teach yourself to see betrayal, not as a sin, but as a signal, a sign that the time has come to shift, to move, to adapt. You must prepare yourself to betray before you are betrayed, to strike, before you are struck, to leave, before you are left. It is not about being heartless, it is about being awake. It is about refusing to be devoured by those who smile at you while sharpening their knives. It is about walking through the battlefield with your head high, and your heart armored against the illusions that have destroyed so many before you. It is about surviving, not because you were the strongest, not because you were the most ruthless, but because you were the most awake, because you saw the game for what it was and chose to play it better than anyone else. And once you embrace this, once you burn the fairy tales, once you bury the naive child within you, who still longs for unconditional love and eternal loyalty, you will rise, you will move through the world like a ghost, seen but never touched, trusted but never dependent, loved but never trapped. And when the storms come, when the betrayals come, when the empires fall, you will stand untouched, unbroken, untouchable, because you never built your strength on the shifting sands of human promises. You built it on the bedrock of your own mind, your own strategy, your own unshakable will. The question you must ask yourself now is simple. Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to walk alone when necessary, to sacrifice comfort for clarity, to abandon dreams that serve others more than they serve you, to choose power over sentiment, survival over fantasy, reality over illusion? Because if you are willing, if you are ready, then there is a place waiting for you among the few. The very few who see the world as it is, not as they wish it to be, who move with the precision of chess masters, not the desperation of pawns, who understand that in the end you are either a player or a piece. You either move the board, or you are moved by it, and there is no honor in being a pawn, only in mastering the game. The more you open your eyes to the true nature of the world, the more you will see that survival is not based on virtue, it is based on calculation, on the ability to see the end before the beginning, on the willingness to act when others hesitate, on the courage to cut ties when loyalty becomes a weakness. In the raw world of power, purity is not a strength, it is a vulnerability. Kindness is not a shield, it is an invitation to be used, to be broken, to be discarded. You must learn to see every interaction, every alliance, every promise, through the cold lens of interest, not affection. You must ask yourself in every relationship, what do they gain? What do they stand to lose? What will they do when the price of loyalty becomes too high? Because it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And when that moment comes, when the ground beneath the smile begins to crack, the ones who seemed the most loyal, the most true will reveal what they have always been: survivors fighting for their own story, not yours. You must not be surprised. You must not be hurt. You must be ready, ready to adapt, ready to move, ready to leave behind anything and anyone that no longer serves your mission, because your mission, your purpose, your survival must come before all else. There is no room for sentiment on the battlefield of power, only strategy, only precision, only results. If you continue to base your decisions on emotion, you will be manipulated. If you continue to believe in the permanence of loyalty, you will be betrayed. If you continue to expect that others will sacrifice for you, you will be left behind. The world does not reward the pure, it rewards the prepared. The world does not save the innocent, it elevates the ruthless. And the world does not honor loyalty, it honors results. If you want to survive, if you want to thrive, you must stop playing the game with the rules you were taught as a child, and start playing with the rules that actually govern reality. You must be willing to make hard choices, willing to walk away from anyone and anything, willing to let go of the comforting illusions that keep you weak, because weakness is the greatest crime you can commit against yourself. Weakness invites betrayal. Weakness invites defeat. Weakness invites extinction. You must cultivate strength, not just of body, not just of mind, but of heart. The kind of strength that allows you to smile while preparing to leave, the kind of strength that allows you to trust while never depending, the kind of strength that allows you to love while never being blinded by love. You must become both the storm and the shelter, both the blade and the shield, both the player and the board. And when you do, when you truly embrace this reality, you will become unstoppable. You will no longer fear betrayal, because you will have already accounted for it. You will no longer fear abandonment, because you will never again abandon yourself. You will no longer fear loss, because you will understand that in every loss there is an opportunity, in every betrayal, a lesson, in every ending a beginning. And this is not bitterness, this is not coldness, this is clarity, this is the wisdom that few ever find, because most are too afraid to look, too afraid to let go of the fairy tales, too afraid to stand alone. But if you can find the courage, if you can endure the pain of disillusionment, if you can burn down the false idols you once worshipped, you will rise from the ashes, unbreakable, untouchable, unstoppable. You will move through the world like a force of nature, shaping it, bending it, molding it to your will, not because you are cruel, not because you are heartless, but because you see, because you understand, because you are awake. And once you are awake, you cannot be deceived. Once you are awake, you cannot be enslaved. Once you are awake, you cannot be defeated. You must remember always that loyalty is a strategy, trust is a tactic, love is a negotiation, and survival is the only absolute. You must be willing to play the long game, to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term power, to endure temporary loneliness for eternal strength, to walk away from those who would drag you down for the sake of those you have yet to lift. And when you do, when you choose strategy over sentiment, power over purity, survival over sacrifice, you will find that the world bends for those who refuse to break. You will find that opportunities open for those who refuse to be trapped. You will find that doors are unlocked for those who refuse to be chained. And in the end, you will find that true freedom, true power, true victory belongs not to those who dream, but to those who act, not to those who hope, but to those who see, not to those who trust blindly, but to those who trust wisely and sparingly. So ask yourself, now, are you willing to see? Are you willing to act? Are you willing to survive? Because if you are, then welcome to the real game, welcome to the arena, where only the sharpest, the strongest, the most awake prevail, where loyalty is earned and lost with every breath, where trust is a weapon, as often as it is a bridge, where survival is not given, but taken by those who dare to claim it. Welcome to the world as it truly is: brutal, yes, cold, yes, merciless, yes, but also beautiful in its rawness, magnificent in its clarity, exhilarating in its freedom, because when you stop needing others to save you, when you stop waiting for someone to be your shield, when you become your own fortress, your own weapon, your own savior, then and only then will you know what it truly means to live, not as a pawn, not as a sacrifice, not as a broken dream, but as a force that shapes its own destiny. And when you reach that point, no betrayal, no loss, no storm will ever destroy you again, because you will have already conquered the greatest enemy you will ever face: yourself. The most dangerous illusion you can hold is the belief that strength is found in the approval of others, that survival depends on how many allies you gather, how many promises you secure, how many hands you can make swear loyalty to you. It is not alliances that protect you, it is your ability to walk away. It is not the smiles you collect, it is the battles you are willing to fight alone that determine whether you endure or fall. You must teach yourself to see alliances for what they are: temporary structures, built on shifting foundations, fragile agreements that last only as long as the ground beneath them remains solid. You must learn that the only loyalty you can trust is the loyalty of necessity, and even that only for as long as it serves both sides. When the ground shakes, when the winds change, when the cost becomes too high, those alliances will crumble faster than you can react. If you are not prepared, you will be buried in the ruins. You must learn to anticipate betrayal, not fear it; to expect the collapse, not be surprised by it; to prepare your escape routes. While others are still building castles of promises, you must be ready at all times, ready to walk, ready to move, ready to lose everything that is not anchored in your own strength, because dependence is death. Dependence is the surrender of power, and once you give away your power, once you entrust your survival to the loyalty of others, you have already lost. You have already set the trap for your own fall. Survival is a solitary art. It is not about isolating yourself, it is about understanding that even among friends, even among lovers, even among allies, you stand alone, you move alone, you survive alone. The stronger you are, the less you will need to depend. The less you depend, the more control you will have, the more freedom you will command. And in a world built on shifting alliances and hidden knives, freedom is the only true safety you must cultivate: a mind that sees clearly, a heart that feels wisely, a spirit that walks without chains. You must learn to distinguish between loyalty, born of need, and loyalty, born of weakness, between trust offered as a strategy and trust offered as a plea. You must always ask yourself, who benefits from this loyalty, who gains from this trust, who loses if I fall? And if the answer is not them, then know that they will not hesitate to let you fall when the time comes. It is not cruelty, it is survival. It is not betrayal, it is nature. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you stop mourning the inevitable and start preparing for it, because true strength is not found in avoiding betrayal, it is found in surviving it. True wisdom is not found in believing promises, it is found in seeing through them. And true power is not found in making others love you, it is found in making yourself indispensable, not because they love you, but because they need you, because without you, their own survival becomes harder, because without you, they lose more than they gain. That is the position you must always seek, the position of necessity, not affection, the position where your existence is a solution, not a luxury. And when you build yourself into that, when you sharpen your skills, strengthen your mind, harden your resolve, when you make yourself the answer to the needs of others, you become a force that cannot be discarded lightly. You become a player in the game, not a piece on the board. You must also understand that appearances are weapons, that smiles are shields, that promises are currencies. The world is not moved by love, it is moved by leverage. It is not sustained by loyalty, it is sustained by mutual interest. And when interest shifts, loyalty will shift with it. This is not cynicism, this is reality, this is survival. And if you want to survive, if you want to thrive, you must see the world, not as you wish it to be,
But as it is, you must act not out of hope, but out of knowledge. You must trust, not out of desperation, but out of strategy. You must love not with blindness, but with awareness. And when you do, when you stop needing the illusions, when you stop craving the comfort of false promises, you will discover a freedom that most people never taste, a power that most people never touch, a life that most people only dream of. You will move through the world like a shadow, untouchable, unbreakable, unseen, until you choose to be seen. And when you are seen, it will be because you chose it, not because you were exposed. It will be because you moved, not because you were moved. It will be because you acted, not because you reacted. That is the power you are building. That is the freedom you are claiming. And it comes at a cost. Yes, it comes at the cost of illusions. It comes at the cost of naive dreams. It comes at the cost of comforting lies. But the price is worth it. The pain is worth it. The loneliness is worth it. Because what you gain is real. What you build is yours. What you command is unquestionable. So ask yourself now, are you willing to pay that price? Are you willing to burn the illusions you once loved? Are you willing to walk alone when others falter? Are you willing to choose power over sentiment, survival over weakness, clarity over comfort? Because if you are, then nothing can stop you, nothing can break you, nothing can own you. You will be free, truly free. And in a world where everyone is chained by their own illusions, by their own desperate need to believe in lies, freedom is the rarest and most valuable power of all.
When you walk through the world with open eyes, you start to see the patterns that were hidden before. You start to recognize the masks people wear not to deceive you but to survive themselves. You begin to understand that everyone is playing a game, even those who swear they are not. Everyone is making moves, calculating risks, protecting themselves. It is not personal, it is simply the way survival works. And once you see this, once you truly grasp it, you will stop feeling betrayed by the actions of others and start expecting them. You will stop handing out trust like a gift and start offering it like a negotiation. You will stop being the one who is blindsided and start being the one who sees the blow coming before it even moves. This is not about becoming paranoid, it is about becoming aware. It is about accepting that human nature is not defined by loyalty, or love, or promises. It is defined by need, by interest, by the shifting tides of opportunity. You must learn to read those tides. You must learn to listen to the words people do not say, to watch the moves they make when they think no one is watching, to feel the shift in energy when alliances start to decay and promises start to weaken. Because the truth is, betrayal rarely comes without warning. It always sends signals. The problem is you have been trained to ignore them. You have been taught to focus on the words, the smiles, the gestures, and to overlook the hesitations, the inconsistencies, the subtle changes that always precede a betrayal. You must retrain yourself to see differently, to hear differently, to feel differently. You must become a predator of information, not a victim of appearances, because information is power, knowledge is leverage, and awareness is the shield that will protect you when loyalty crumbles and trust fails. You must learn to ask the hard questions. What does this person gain by standing with me? What do they risk by staying loyal? What will they lose if they betray me? And if the answers do not align with your survival, if the answers reveal more danger than safety, then you must act, not tomorrow, not when the betrayal is undeniable, but now, before it can hurt you. You must be willing to move first, to strike first, to leave first, because in the game of survival, hesitation is death, loyalty is fragile, and trust is a currency that devalues the moment it is no longer profitable. You must also understand that your greatest threat is not just external, it is internal. It is your own longing to believe, your own desire to trust, your own need to find something pure in a world built on calculation. That longing is your weakness. It blinds you, it softens you, it makes you vulnerable to those who are willing to use it against you. You must kill that longing, not your ability to love, not your ability to connect, but your need for those connections to be unconditional, because they never will be love when it serves your growth, trust when it serves your survival, ally when it serves your mission. But never blind yourself to the fact that every bond is conditional, every alliance is temporary, and every loyalty has a price. If you build your life around this truth, you will not be cold, you will be clear, you will not be cruel, you will be cautious, you will not be heartless, you will be powerful. And a world that rewards power and punishes weakness, clarity, caution, and power are the only virtues that matter. You must move with precision, with intent, with foresight. You must be willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term security. You must be willing to endure loneliness in exchange for freedom. You must be willing to let go of those who no longer align with your path, even if it hurts, even if it leaves scars, because those scars will heal. But the wounds of betrayal, the wounds of misplaced trust, the wounds of naive loyalty, those can break you beyond repair. You must remember always that survival is not about clinging to others. It is about building yourself into something that cannot be easily discarded, something that is needed, something that is respected, even if it is not loved, because respect is stronger than affection, necessity is more reliable than promises, and leverage is more powerful than loyalty. You must become the kind of person who does not need to beg for loyalty, who does not need to hope for trust, who does not need to fear betrayal, because you have built your life, your strategy, your very being around the expectation that people will act in their own interest, and you are prepared for it, you are ready for it, you are ahead of it, and when you are ahead of it, nothing can surprise you, nothing can shake you, nothing can destroy you, because you have already calculated every risk, already anticipated every move, already prepared every counterstrike. This is the mindset of a survivor, this is the mindset of a strategist, this is the mindset of a player who moves the board, not a pawn, who is moved by it. And when you master this mindset, when you live it, when you breathe it, you will find that the world bends differently for you, opportunities open differently, alliances form differently, because people respect strength, people fear clarity, people trust those who do not need trust in return, and when you reach that level, when you embody that reality, you will no longer chase loyalty, you will command it, you will no longer seek protection, you will be protection, you will no longer beg for survival, you will ensure it. And there is no greater power in this world than the power to walk alone when necessary, the power to stand when others fall, the power to move when others hesitate, the power to win when others are still dreaming of loyalty that does not exist. There comes a point when you realize that survival is not enough, that winning is not enough, that simply outlasting betrayal and disappointment is not enough. There comes a point when you understand that true power is not just in enduring the darkness, but in mastering it, in bending it to your will, in using it to carve your path through a world that respects nothing except strength. You begin to see that the real players, the true survivors, are not the ones who hide from betrayal or fear, the shifting loyalties. They are the ones who anticipate them, the ones who create them, the ones who turn every crack, every fracture, every shift in the tides of loyalty into an opportunity to rise higher. They do not cry over broken promises. They use the silence that follows as a signal to move. They do not grieve over lost alliances, they use the betrayal as confirmation that it is time to evolve, and they do not fear standing alone, because they know that true strength, true influence, true dominance, is only found in the one who needs no one, but is needed by many. You must become that one, you must become the force that others depend on, but you must never depend on them in return. You must become the storm that others prepare for, not the shelter that others abandon. When the winds change, you must become the master of the game, not the piece caught in it, and to do that, you must kill the last remnants of the illusions that have chained you for so long. You must let go of the belief that anyone will save you. You must let go of the hope that loyalty will protect you. You must let go of the fantasy that love will shield you, because none of these things are guaranteed, none of them are permanent, and none of them can be the foundation upon which you build your survival, your success, your empire. The only foundation strong enough to withstand the shifting tides of human nature is the one you build within yourself, the discipline you forge, the clarity you sharpen, the power you claim with your own hands. You must become your own salvation, your own protector, your own weapon, and when you do, when you truly stand alone, not because you have no one, but because you need no one, you will find that the world bends differently for you. You will find that betrayal no longer wounds you, it warns you. You will find that abandonment no longer breaks you, it frees you. You will find that loneliness no longer weakens you, it strengthens you. Because when you walk through the world with nothing but your own strength, you walk with a kind of freedom that few will ever know. You move without fear, you act without hesitation, you build without permission, and you destroy without regret. You must embrace the fact that every smile hides a calculation, that every promise carries an expiration date, that every bond is temporary, and you must not hate this truth. You must love it, because in its brutal honesty, there is clarity, and in clarity there is control, and in control there is the power to shape your own destiny. You must stop asking why they betrayed you, and start asking why you expected anything else. You must stop asking why they left you, and start asking why you believed they would stay. You must stop mourning what was never real, and start building what can never be taken, because once you do, you live by these truths. Once you breathe them, once you let them sink into your bones, you will become untouchable, you will become unstoppable, you will become inevitable, and those who once thought they could use you, will realize too late that you were never the pawn, you were always the board. You must remember always that survival is not given, it is earned, that power is not inherited, it is seized, that loyalty is not owed, it is leveraged, and that trust is not a gift, it is a strategy. You must build your life around this reality, not around the fantasies they sold you, not around the lies they fed you, but around the raw, brutal, beautiful truth of how the world really works. You must walk through the fire, not because you hope someone will pull you out, but because you know you can walk through it alone. You must climb the mountain, not because you believe someone will carry you, but because you know your own legs, your own will, your own strength are enough. You must cross the battlefield, not because you believe the bullets will miss you, but because you have already accepted that wounds will come, and you have already decided that they will not stop you, because in the end, it is not the strongest who survive it, is not the smartest who rule it, is the clearest, the most awake, the ones who see the world as it is, and still choose to fight, still choose to rise, still choose to conquer. You must be one of them. You must burn the false hopes, you must bury the dead dreams, you must silence the desperate longing for what was never real, and you must build in its place something indestructible, something undeniable, something unbreakable, yourself. And when you do, when you finally understand that you were never meant to be saved by others, when you finally realize that you were always meant to save yourself, you will rise, you will stand, you will conquer, and nothing, no betrayal, no abandon, no storm, will ever bring you down again, because you will have become the rarest thing in this world, not just a survivor, not just a player, but a master of your own fate, a builder of your own kingdom, creator of your own power, and that power once claimed, can never be taken, because it is not built on others, it is built on you, it is not given by others, it is forged by you, it is not dependent on others, it is yours forever. So decide now, will you cling to the lies that have kept you weak, or will you embrace the brutal truth that will make you strong? Will you continue to hope for loyalty that will never last, or will you build the kind of life that does not require hope, does not require permission, does not require trust, only strength, only clarity, only the unbreakable will to survive, to thrive, dominate? The choice has always been yours. It always will be. The only question that remains is whether you are ready to stop being the pawn and start being the player.